Yo, what it do? It's your boy Zbaka, and today I'm going to be ranking every single pistol that has been in Call of Duty Black Ops Zombies, including World at War, because that's the game started it all. And if I name this video ranking every single pistol in Treyarch Zombies, I feel that just wouldn't look as good. I hope this might be the start of a new series where, similar to Chaos on YouTube, I go and rank every single pistol from every single game, and it will actually be every single game once I actually decide to get Advanced Warfare and Infinite Warfare. I don't want to get Advanced Warfare or Infinite Warfare, but maybe someday. If you do like this video, let me know, and I might make another video based on a different class, except for Wonder Weapons. That's, I'm sure that has been done many, many times, at least right now. So yeah, there have been 31 pistols added into Black Ops Zombies as of the most recent update to Black Ops Cold War. If you want to hear how I'm ranking them, what factors I'm including, what factors I'm not included, stay tuned for a hot minute. If you want us to get straight into the list, starting with number 31, click on this timestamp here. Anyways, I'm going to be ranking these pistols mostly based on their high round capabilities, but since pistols are pistols and most of them aren't really meant to go to high rounds, especially your starting pistols, they're going to be based more on like utility. And the pistols, they're not going to be compared just to all other pistols. They're going to be compared in their usefulness to all other weapons in the game that they came from. For example, the Black Ops 1 Python has more use than Black Ops 2 Python because the Black Ops 1 weapon selection was a lot more limited. Perks like Double Tap and Deadshot, I'm not going to be, considering those. Anything that increases your DPS or any perk that increases your damage to DPS. Mostly because they change throughout the games, like from Black Ops 1 to Black Ops 2's Double Tap and Cold War's Deadshot that double your damage. I'm going to be including Elemental Pop in here because Elemental Pop just can straight up give you an ammo mod, which will just basically increase your damage if you get lucky to get that ammo mod. And speaking of ammo mods, they will not be considered because, especially in Black Ops 3, they basically make every single weapon equal. The ability to use ammo mods, though, such as, Wonder Weapons and the starting pistols in the majority of games cannot get an ammo mod. So they're, the ability to get one is going to be considered, but the actual effects of them will not. And all of the weapons will be considered in their fully upgraded state from the game they're in. Black Ops 1, 2, and 3 will be single packed, Black Ops 3 to avoid the ammo mod. Black Ops 2, I will be double packing the weapons because double packing some weapons in Black Ops 2 has a chance to give it a random attachment. Black Ops 4, I'm basically required to fully pack punch the weapon regardless of the ammo mod to give it its max damage potential. However, the ammo mod I'm going to be using for this in this consideration is Cryo Freeze, because Cryo Freeze absolutely sucks and barely changes the weapon's performance anyways, especially since it's a weapon to be more of a one-shot, such as the revolver or any shotguns. And Black Ops Cold War will be fully pack-a-punched, no ammo mod, and be upgraded to full rarity when possible. Anyways, to stop any further delay, because this is going to be quite a long video, at number 31, we have the Cap 40.
What?
No, alright. I know that sounds bad.
Now, I am not talking about the multiplayer version. The multiplayer version of Black Ops 2 absolutely demolished, but the Zombies version was a lot more lackluster, and I honestly think it is the worst pistol that has ever appeared in Black Ops Zombies. While the damage is nothing, absolutely trash, the ammo capacity on this, especially for a fully automatic weapon, only 12 shots, and it only increases to 15 while pack-a-punched. That is not going to get you far. Even with Speed Cola, you're basically going to be reloading more than you're firing. Another issue with the weapon is that it is a box-only weapon, when you can just go to the wall buy on literally every single map in Black Ops 2, except for the maps like Town and Bus Depot and stuff. You can just buy the B23R off a wall, pack-punch that anyways to get a fully automatic weapon. Now don't worry, the B23R is going to be much further on this list, but for now I honestly think the Cap 40, with its abysmal magazine size, low damage for an automatic, mediocre ammo pool, and the fact that it's a box weapon only, I think all bundles this weapon up into being probably the worst pistol in Zombies and one of the worst weapons in Black Ops 2, barring the War Machine, but that's a different video. At number 30, just barely above the Cap 40, is the Marshall from Black Ops Cold War, not Black Ops 3. don't get mad at me yet. The Marshal from Black Ops Cold War is absolutely nowhere near the dual Marshal 16s from Zetsubo no Shima. While it is functionally very similar to the dual Marshal 16s, it has very, very low damage for both a pistol and a shotgun in Black Ops Cold War, and an absolutely awful ammo reserve for any weapon in Cold War. Only 50 shots for a 2-shot weapon that does very low damage. 50 shots is nothing. Honestly, not even Dragon's Breath rounds can save this weapon. I did some testing with it, and the Dragon's Breath rounds delay your kills, barely improve your damage. They're just way too inconsistent. So honestly, I think this is the second worst pistol, only just above the Cap 40, but I think this is definitely the pistol I hate the most. To top off our trio of terrible, awful, no good, very bad pistols is the Welling from Black Ops 4. I think this is genuinely the most hated pistol in zombies from the wider community, and you might be wondering why I would put the Welling over the legendary Cap 40. Well, I used to think the Welling was the absolute worst pistol in zombies until, I started playing Black Ops 4 again and using it. And I found that the Welling is actually really functionally similar to the Bloodhound from Shadows of Evil. But, of course they're both 8-shot revolvers, but the Welling has higher damage on Pack-a-Punch than I think any other starting pistol besides the Bloodhound, and Pack-a-Punching it isn't, absolutely terrible. Of course, the reason that this is so low on the list is because every single weapon in Black Ops 4 is good, and you don't even need to start with the Welling. If you want to use an explosive weapon, use the Helion Salvo. That weapon is legitimately absolutely broken. But the restrictions of Black Ops 4, plus the fact that you can just, start with a Strife or the Mog, like someone who has half a brain cell, there's no reason to really ever use the Welling unless you're memeing and want the old glory days of the Mustang and Sally back. And I think from here on out, there's not any pistols that are genuinely bad, just painfully mediocre. And starting off this trend of painfully mediocre pistols is sort of a three-way tie between number 28, the MR6, which fires only slightly lower than the 1911 from Black Ops 3, and wouldn't you know it, the 1911 from Black Ops 3 is at number 27. Both these weapons are a little bit behind number 26, the Bloodhound from Black Ops 3. The reason all these weapons are so similar is, well, if you played the games, you know that the MR6, the 1911, and the Bloodhound are all your basic starting pistols. The Bloodhound is highest because it has slightly higher damage than the other two, and the upgraded version, the Meat Wagon, can hold 3 shots in the clip instead of 6 like the, Death and Taxes? I don't know, no one ever uses it. The MR6 is definitely the most forgettable weapon in Black Ops 3, despite it being your starting pistol for the majority of maps. Anyways, the reason these 3 weapons are so low on the list is because of the complete exclusion of PhD from Black Ops 3, as well as the general improvement of all the other weapons in the game. You could straight up buy the KRM off of the wall outside of spawn on nearly every single map. In the older games, the Mustang and Sally were useful because there weren't very many weapons that would get you very far, but the Mustang and Sally had high damage for high risk. Black Ops 3 sort of does away with the risk, because you can't double pack these weapons, and you can get nearly every other weapon to be just as good, if not better. As much as I really like the Bloodhound, I've really got to put it this low on the list, because it's just not nearly as good as his predecessors. On the topic of the Bloodhound, can we just talk about why none of the other Aether maps use the Bloodhound as the starting pistol? I mean, for a set of characters to come from the battlefields of World War I, an 8-shot revolver makes a lot more sense than a futuristic pistol. At number 25 on the list, a very big improvement over the Cap 40 is the Cap 45 from Black Ops 4. The Cap 45 boasts a much larger magazine than the Cap 40, as well as a much higher headshot multiplier, at least that's what I found. An issue with the Cap 45, at least in Black Ops 4, is that you can't customize the Cap 45 like you can nearly every single other weapon, unless you were lucky enough to play Black Ops 4 during the time this weapon was available in the Battle Pass. So if you were to download Black Ops 4 today, like I did, you can't actually change the Cap 40 at all. You're stuck with its base form, which isn't very bad, but, there are much better pistols to use in nearly every single game. At 24 is the 1911 from Black Ops Cold War, which I think is the epitome of painfully average. In game modes where you can't use your custom weapon, at least for most of them, you start with just a basic 1911, which does, decently high damage, but I feel that it has a lot of visual recoil, especially when dual wielding it, which makes it very hard to aim. And I think the absolute worst part of this gun is that you can no longer upgrade it to the Mustang and Sally, which doesn't really make it iconic anymore. There's no reason to just use a 1911 when there's better pistols and more iconic weapons in Cold War, such as the ray gun, which is much better than the versions in Black Ops 3 and 4. While it has a very large magazine size of 54, it doesn't really do much to set itself apart from every other, basic pistol. At number 23 is the 5.7, or the dual 5.7 from Black Ops 2. Much like the 1911, it is a high damaging pistol with a pretty good ammo pool. I just feel that the 5.7 sort of fails to find a place within Black Ops 4. Sure, it's a decent weapon on its own, but once again, there are better pistols to use and better weapons to use in general. Continuing the trend of relatively mediocre semi-automatic pistols is the CZ75 from Black Ops 1. It's actually really similar to the 5.7 from Black Ops 2 in both of its forms, single and dual wield. However, the CZ75 finds more of a place in Black Ops 1 due to the lower selection of weapons, as well as the fact when you pack-a-punch it, it becomes a fully automatic weapon, which is very fun to use. At number 21 on the list is the LCAR-9 from Black Ops 3, a fully automatic pistol that has been kind of overshadowed by the Black Ops 3 RK5. Now, the LCAR-9 has a slightly higher ammo capacity and a slightly higher price off of the wall. It's also usually located in a relatively inconvenient spot to go to, or one that's easy to miss. Such as in Shadows of Evil, it's just kind of lying on a table that you're not ever going to look at. I forget it's there most of the time. Performance-wise, it's pretty similar to the RK5, which is right next on the list at number 20. The RK5 has a lot more utility than the LCAR-9, especially since it's a starting room weapon, it's cheap, and if you complete every single Easter egg in Black Ops 3, you can start with it. Saves you 500 for a weapon that can one-burst headshot until relatively late in the early game. It just has sort of a small ammo capacity that limits it, but since it's so cheap and it's always in the spawn room, you can always go back and buy more ammo. At number 19 on the list is the very first weapon that has ever been in Call of Duty Zombies, the World at War Colt M1911. Now, until Deriz, it is by far the worst weapon that exists ever since it was stuck in its base form. But once Deriz came out and gives you the ability to pack-a-punch the weapon, it becomes a high-damaging grenade launcher with similar performance to the ray gun in that game. Of course, in a game like that, where the only really big power weapons were the ray gun and the Wunderwaffe, having a third power weapon to choose from that you can always get because you spawn with it is a very nice thing. However, in World at War, this was before PhD Flopper came out, so you would always be taking explosive damage from this pistol. It also had a low fire rate, a low ammo capacity, and the jankiness of the game made it so you are more likely to die from your own explosive damage. At number 18 on the list is the Black Ops 2 M1911, or the Mustang and Sally. Now, this is at number 18 on the list for a slightly different reason than the World at War M1911. You're still a risk to it because the only map you can actually get a PhD effect is on Buried with the perma perk. But once again, the Black Ops 2's weapon selection gave it less of a place than the older games. It's still a very effective weapon, but using it is harder and there's better options available. At number 17 on the list is one of my favorite pistols, the Black Ops 2 B23R. No matter what map you're on, no matter how bad your box luck is, you're always going to be able to wall buy the B23R pretty early on. It does decent damage for a burst fire pistol, comparable to the RK5, though with a price of $1,000 in a little bit more of an inconvenient spot, by itself the B23R is a little bit worse. However, when pack-a-punched, it becomes a fully automatic pistol that can actually do decently well. Once again, it is comparable to the Cap 40, but the accessibility of the B23R plus the higher ammo capacity in the magazine makes it so much better than the Cap 40, and you can always just go back, buy ammo, or, especially if you're on transit, just sit on the bus, keep buying ammo, and shooting out the back window. Classic strategy, and I can't wait for it to return when Zombies Chronicles 2 comes out for Cold War. This is never gonna happen. Never mind. So at number 16 on the list is the 357 Magnum from COD World at War. It's a pretty high damaging weapon for a pistol, very high headshot damage that can one-shot headshot until about the 20s, even when unpack-a-punched, which makes it much more viable on the maps that came out before Derice. When pack-a-punched, it doesn't really gain too much. It gains a little bit higher damage, a little bit higher headshot multiplier, however, it still retains only 6 rounds in the chamber, and it has a very low fire rate cap that makes it a little bit awkward to use. Still, in World at War, you didn't have much to choose from, so having a mobile weapon that does high damage on any map is a pretty big W for World at War. See, I said W, like World at War. Whatever, next gun. At the number 15 spot, halfway through the list, is the RK-7 Garrison from Black Ops 4. Now, the RK-7 Garrison is a very big improvement over the RK-5 from Black Ops 3. Most notably in the headshot damage. Like, I was just playing Classified in the spawn room, and I was able to just get one-tap headshots, or one-burst headshots, until round 16, unpack-a-punched. It's really good. It also has an extended mag that you couldn't get in Black Ops 3, which pumps up the magazine size with pack-a-punch to a solid 71 shots. Granted, they're burst, but that's still a very big magazine size. The RK-7 Garrison is honestly, I think, kind of slept on because it's your basic wall weapon they get early on, when you would rather use like the Strife or the MOG. But next time you play Black Ops 4, I would recommend giving the RK-7 Garrison a try, especially with the rapid fire attachment. Number 13 and 14 is basically a two-way tie because it's basically the same weapon. At number 14 is the Python from Black Ops 2, and at number 13 is the Python from Black Ops 1. The main difference between these two weapons is mostly the other weapons that are available in the game. In Black Ops 2, you have a lot more weapons to choose from. In Black Ops 1, you don't have as many weapons to choose from, such as the other weapons earlier on in this list. But in both games, the Python is a very powerful weapon, similar to the 357 Magnum from World at War, but it has a much higher fire rate cap, has a 12-round magazine when pack-a-punched instead of just 6, has a decent ammo capacity, and the headshot damage is still very, very high. At number 12 is a weapon that I would put only a little bit higher than the Black Ops 1 Python, is the Remington New Model Army from Black Ops 2. Now, the Remington New Model Army is almost functionally identical to the Python, so much so that if you were to put the Python in the fridge in, I think, Die Rise or Transit, it would be the Remington New Model Army in Buried. But the Remington New Model Army, I think, has a slightly higher fire rate, a slightly higher damage multiplier, and both versions have a speed loader instead of just the pack-a-punch version. Either way, it's so much cooler looking than the Python, at least in my opinion, and it fits Buried perfectly. I'm just mad that they didn't put it in Origins. At number 11 is the Strife from Black Ops 4. Another basic semi-automatic pistol, but this time you can spawn with it. And you can also have the stiletto knife attachment, which will greatly increase your melee damage. It can one-shot a zombie just meleeing up until round 4, and can two-shot up until round 8, and then after that it sort of falls off. When pack-a-punched, it becomes a relatively decent fully automatic pistol, holding quite a lot of rounds. And if you're playing 9, one of the best things to do early game is to do 3 trials to get the Z Harmony for free. The Strife is by far one of the best utility weapons in Black Ops 4 in my opinion. However, in pure power, it sort of falls behind other weapons. Still, I think it's one of the best weapons to use early game. And at number 10 on the list, I bet you guys are waiting for this one, the M1911 from Black Ops 1, the OG Mustang and Sally PhD flopper combo. Now this thing was basically what you would use if you didn't feel like rolling the box for the ray gun. While the ammo capacity, such as the C3000 BHs before it, is still a little bit limited, it's dual wielded so you can fire it a lot faster, and the damage is still very high. One of the classic strategies to high round on Ascension, even though it's such an easy map, is to just get the PhD flopper and Mustang and Sally combo and absolutely just lay away at zombies in high spaced areas. The M1911, as well as the Mustang Sally, I think are by far the most iconic pistols in COD Zombies. If you don't count the ray gun, but the ray gun's a wonder weapon, so whatever. Of course, you're always going to be able to use it when you go down solo as well, so if you're not a very good player, you're pretty familiar with these guns. At number 9 on the list is the first shotgun pistol to be added to Zombies, the Executioner from Black Ops 2. Now, while in multiplayer it's mediocre, if you're going to be nice about it, in zombies it found much more of a niche, especially the Pack-a-Punch version. Even for a pistol, it could lay through zombies at high rounds with the power of a shotgun. However, this power still came with a few drawbacks. It was a revolver-style weapon, so you had to reload each round individually, and it didn't come with a speed loader. It can only hold 5 rounds in the chamber, and the ammo pool was a little bit lacking, so you had to be a little bit conservative with this gun. But if you knew how to use it, it was very effective. At number 8 on the list is the bigger brother of the Executioner, or brothers I should say, the dual-wielded Marshall 16s from Black Ops 3, exclusively on the map Zetsubo no Shima. This shotgun pistol was an absolute powerhouse and definitely a welcome arsenal to Zetsubo no Shima, especially since the wonder weapon was an absolute pain in the ass to get. The Marshalls were a single fire weapon on Pack-a-Punch, firing both of its bullets at the same time, but can fire 6 of its bullets 3 times. Does that make sense? You can understand what I'm saying there. Once you Pack-a-Punch it, it had a very large ammo pool. However, if you still go around firing it willy-nilly, you will burn through your ammo. The power of the Marshalls, the quick reload, and the high mobility that the pistol class grants you made the dual Marshall 16s one of the greatest get-out-of-my-way guns in COD Zombies history. Not to mention, they really like destroying those Thrashers. Those stupid Shrek green monster things that are absolutely one of the worst boss enemies ever added to the game. At number 7 on the list is the weapon that you either love or you hate and you don't know why you should love it. It's the Mozu from Black Ops 4. Now the reason the Mozu is so good is because of all of the attachments you can put on it. FMJ, High Caliber 1 and 2, and especially the Skull Sweater Operator mod that makes this thing a headshot machine. Granted, with this, you need to hit your headshots to be able to use it effectively. Body shots will not kill. Even Pack-a-Punch, they are absolutely pitiful damage on body shots. But headshots, I think Crazy Rabbit said at one point, you could always 2-shot headshot till max HP. I forgot if that's true. I never tested it myself because I can't be bothered to play with it for that long. But in my experience, the Mozu is very useful if you can aim your shots. If you can't aim, just use a MOG or something like everyone else does. I think we've reached the point of the list at this point where most of the weapons that I'm going to be listing off are basically handheld wonder weapons. Which the ray gun is, and the ray gun Mark II, and the Cerberus, and the Winter's Howl. You know what I'm saying. So yeah, at number 6 on the list is the Rift E9 from Black Ops 3, exclusively on Revelations. When I played Revelations for the first time, I honestly thought that the Rift E9 was that map's wonder weapon, because I barely played Black Ops 3's multiplayer, and it sure as hell felt like it. It's a 2-round burst energy weapon that has a little bit of a projectile speed, but since you're going to be mostly engaging zombies at close range anyways, it doesn't really matter the projectile speed that much. Pack-a-punching the Rift E9 to the Elder Invader basically gives you a baby ray gun Mark II. It has a very large clip, a very large ammo capacity, and a very high damage for a pistol. It's no wonder why I thought this was the wonder weapon the first time. It also comes with an ELO and a laser sight attachment already, so hip firing or aiming down the sight, you're going to be hitting those headshots 100%. The only issue with the weapon, I think, it has a bit of a slow burst delay that could get you in trouble, but as long as you don't use it as a backup weapon and you get into a corner, you should be fine. At yet another tie on this list, number 4 and number 5, the Mauser C96 from Origins in Black Ops 3 and Black Ops 2. Possibly the greatest starting weapon in COD history. The Boomhilda, the Pack-a-Punch version, is, well, if the Rift E9 was the baby ray gun Mark II, then the Boomhilda is the ray gun Mark II's teenage cousin that plays a lot of Battlefield 1. It was actually a lot harder to rank one over the other because the Black Ops 3 Boomhilda is the only starting pistol in Black Ops 3 that you could put an ammo mod on. Though I still think that the reliability of the Boomhilda in Black Ops 2, given the weapon selection between the two games, puts it just a little bit above the Black Ops 3 version, but they're still basically the same gun. No, they are literally the same gun. 50 rounds in the mag, 100 in reserve, a headshot machine that you can spawn with. The Boomhilda has so much power on it that it literally kicks you back a little bit when you fire it in both games. Not to mention that ACOG scope looks absolutely gorgeous on it. The reliability of the Mauser and the Boomhilda is bolstered even further by the fact that if you got rid of it early on in the game for a better wall buy, because to be honest, it's still just a starting pistol until you pack a punch it. You can pick it up later from dig sites, and it's not too uncommon. Until the release of Black Ops Cold War, the Mauser C96 and the Boomhilda were by far the greatest pistol in Zombies history. Maybe the Rift D9, but the accessibility of the Mauser puts it a little bit higher. But yeah, then Cold War came along and broke everything. The final 3 weapons on this list today, they are not a tie, I promise, but they're all from Cold War. And number 3 is the Diamatti. The Diamatti found a neat little niche early on in Cold War's life cycle, being a mobile weapon that does really high damage, despite it just being a pistol. You can dual wield the weapon and have a high ammo capacity with extended mags, plus all the other shenanigans with increasing rarity, and the general makeup of Cold War's weapons. Pistols are basically on the same level as any other weapon in the game, except the Marshall, because the Marshall is like absolutely trash. I hate it so much, but that's in the past now. Right now, we're talking about the Diamatti. However, the Diamatti was slightly outshined when the next pistol came out at number 2 on the list, the AMP-63. A not so fan favorite return of the PM-63 from the original Black Ops, but this time as a pistol. In the sense of the pistol, you can dual wield it. And since you can dual wield it, and be it fully automatic, extended mags, all that good stuff, the AMP-63 was an absolute, and still is, an absolute monster in Cold War. Granted, both of these pistols have a little bit of an issue with their accuracy when dual wielding it, but you could just put it on single and fire aiming down the sights. But that's not nearly as fun. If you haven't played Cold War since launch, I would recommend picking up the game again, and I guess you do have to unlock the AMP-63. Okay, that's the only thing with the AMP-63 then. You have to unlock it through a challenge at this point. And finally, the number 1 pistol in Black Ops Zombies history, through my testing, through I think general consensus. By general consensus, I mean like the 2 YouTubers that I watch and like 2 minutes of browsing Reddit. I think that the number 1 pistol in Black Ops history is the Magnum from Cold War. The Magnum from Cold War is leagues ahead of the Pythons and the Magnums and all the other revolvers that came before it. First off, yes, like any other pistol, you can dual wield it, doubling your DPS potential. Now, your accuracy will take a deep dive, but throw on an ember sighting point on that thing, aim for about the head area, and you will be absolutely demolishing with this thing. Unlike the 1911, since it has a bit of a slow fire rate, your accuracy will sort of be reset to what it should be when hip firing, so you can line up your other shots when firing to a horde and just clear out entire trains of zombies. Special enemies have nothing on this thing either. The Orda has nothing on this thing either. It's better than the hand cannon, honestly. Maybe I was just using the hand cannon wrong. But all things considered, the power, the mobility, and yeah, that's really it. The power is unmatched. The mobility is pistol level. It's so good. And if you have not used the Magnum yet, use it, unlock dual wield, and just lay into zombies. I guarantee you will not be disappointed. And there you have it. All 31 pistols in Treyarch Zombies ranked from World at War up until Cold War. Please let me know how I did. Please let me know what I got right. Definitely let me know what I got wrong, because I honestly feel like putting the cap 40 this low upset a lot of people. I don't know. I don't like the gun. Anyways, now that this video's over, let me know in the comments which class of weapons I should do next. I just can't do assault rifles, SMGs, or wonder weapons. The first 2 because those will take absolutely forever, and wonder weapons because I don't have the season pass for Black Ops 4 because I'm cheap and I'm waiting for it to go on discount. Until then, I appreciate you guys for sticking all the way through until the end, and yeah, you guys have a great day. I'll see you guys in the next video. Let me know what I should do next.